Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I can tell you about point cloud versus 3D mesh today.
Yeah. Let's talk
this
about that.
time, this time.
So I think this is an interesting topic. We've been talking about, like doing this live chat and this topic for a long time now because a lot of people come to us with like this question is like, when do I use the point cloud? When do I use the 3D mesh? And I also see that quite a few customers will be very strong about using the point cloud, and some other people will be very strong about using the 3D mesh. Um,
Mm.
and we're doing a webinar tomorrow for our reality modeling advanced work suite, which contains Orbeez. So Orbeez is Orbit 3DM feature extraction. I think that's the official name. And with Orbit, you can combine all your data, point clouds, imagery, mobile mapping, everything in one platform. The data actually is like, so like the platform is very intuitive, very easy to use, and you can apply some advanced measurements and advanced analysis um, on the point cloud. So it works with both. You can see the images at the same time at the point cloud, but it works. The analysis works on the point cloud. So
Mm.
this opens up a lot of possibilities together with context capture, because I see two different lines of two different workflows. One where you use you gather your point cloud on the fields and imagery and whatever, or you already have the point cloud, and you can start using that data in Orbis. You can start doing asset inventories and whatever you want to do, and on parallel or on the other, whatever, you can use context capture to generate that 3D mesh, or even the point cloud if you only gather imagery from a drone, for example. So you can generate the point cloud and or 3D mesh. The 3D mesh will be for a more, getting that digital context, and then consuming that 3D mesh in, engineering applications or other, advanced engineering workflows like design and all that. And in case you let's go back to the case of the drone imagery, then you can generate that point cloud and then feed it back to Orbit.
Yes.
So I think this is very interesting because so far with context capture we've been talking about the 3D mesh a lot. So it was like, generate the best 3D mesh, consume the 3D mesh, optimize your workflow with the 3D mesh. But now with Orbit is like, well, we can use both.
Oh, yes, indeed. And in fact, we already have a possibility to use point cloud within context capture, because here we have also example. Maybe that's a good moment to start with. That
Mm-hmm.
already it was possible for now to use the point cloud with the 3D mesh, with the photogrammetry, to connect the accuracy of the collection of the data of the point cloud. So
Mm-hmm.
especially with some small thin elements, which are always really tricky to gather with the photogrammetry,
Mm-hmm.
then it was possible to just gather the accuracy and the resolution of the point cloud with the high textures from coming from the 3D mesh.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great starting point. That, yeah, we already had it, but now
Mm-hmm.
that will be, we're gonna go a step forward,
Yeah.
because now we can open for all of those mobile mapping departments,
Mm-hmm.
because Orbit is it's just a great solution to handle such big data like point clouds.
Mm-hmm. So in this specific case, like this specific video that you're showing now, what will be, so we gather the point cloud and we gather the imagery. I remember this has terrestrial and aerial imagery, if I'm correct. I think there's drone data set, there is a data set with a camera, and with I'm not sure it's a mobile phone camera or like a terrestrial using the I think it was a Sony or whatever,
Hmm.
and then the laser scan point cloud. So what would be, how would you consume the point clouds, and how would you use the 3D mesh for this specific case?
In this case,
Mm-hmm.
that's the if we could just gather the point cloud itself, then okay, we are able then to model all of those pipes and features and existing on the site.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the problem will appear in case we will be asked for more details on the texture to just show what happened, for example, on the surface of the tank, because then yeah, we are able to just generate geometry. We can do it pretty precisely, especially in case of terrestrial laser scanning here. But then, in case we would like to show and more to let's say step forward with details and what happened on the flat surfaces,
Mm-hmm.
then we will need the texture. But as you may know, a point cloud is a discrete representation of the object, while 3D mesh is a continuous representation. So what does it mean? Our eye can recognize that something is a car because we have millions of points which are really dense.
Mm-hmm.
But still, this is they are only a points, so they are
Mm-hmm.
not connected by any mesh, any geometry. But in case of 3D mesh, this is a continuous representation, so we are able to not only recognize the geometry, but also our machine, our algorithm and computers will just see that, okay, between point A and B, there is a wall because it is existing as
Mm-hmm.
an object in the. So this is also important for the machine since it's giving much more reliability in case of even finding a point on the surface, because now
Mm-hmm.
while using this, for example, in example we can see here we have this spill center and we have a flat surface. In case we would like to use a point cloud on the same surface, the chance that we will click and choose a point which is not on the surface but just even kilometers behind
Mm.
is really huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why we had to use clips, etc., etc. So the
Mm-hmm.
first advantage of 3D mesh is that this is a continuous representation. So if something is a surface, then it is a surface. There is no
Mm-hmm.
guessing here. So let's say that will be a point for the 3D mesh.
Okay.
Uh,
Go through the mesh team.
okay. Then, but then the problem will appear in case we are going for a site like here,
Mm-hmm.
and we would like to gather all of those information about the pipes, about the bars, metal bars, the thin one, the cables.
Mm-hmm.
Then it starts to get tricky for the mesh and for the geometry itself, because all of
Mm-hmm.
those thin structures will not find enough key points if we will not, of course, gather hundreds of pictures of every single cable. Then we are not gonna get any special result. So the time is the key, because
Yeah.
with the point cloud we can go on the same site, uh, take about, in this case, not more than 2 3 hours of so smaller area,
Mm-hmm.
and we will get almost everything, like 95% of overlap
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
of this place.
Yeah. And then
So
back in the office, you could start using that in Orbit, where you can have your imagery and your point cloud, and then start working with that data set already. So you don't need to
yes.
wait for the photogrammetry process to generate that 3D mesh.
Of course,
Mhm.
you have to register the scanning.
Yeah, sorry, I
Of
always
course,
forget about that.
our the newest software, like you just gives us a possibility to use, for example, iPad on the
Mm-hmm.
on site and make a
Yeah.
pre-registration on site. So then you just speeding up, or for example, then I'm not sure if I can say names here of the different companies
Of
and the
course, go for it.
producers. Like for example, new Faro scanner has a possibility and option to register on site,
Mm,
to make the
that's cool.
registration on site.
So how
So
how long does the registration take?
of course it depends on the size. Yeah,
Mm.
like always, that's a universal answer. It depends. Uh,
Yeah,
but
universal answer for
it's
technical
getting
people.
it's getting shorter and shorter. But I would say that
Yeah.
for a day of gathering the data, right now it's your work strictly in the front of the computer. it's about 20-30 minutes per day.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah, yeah.
rest
So it's
will
way faster than a
yes,
photogrammetry process. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
yes, it's really fast. The problem is, of course, the loading. It will be
Mm.
longer, but
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
also
yeah,
a
yeah,
thing
yeah.
you don't have to focus on the computer right now.
A silly question. Can you register point clouds on Orbit?
As far as I take a look at the orbit, it is more uh, focused on processing already registered clouds. So you have
Okay.
a trajectory already, then you just import a ready point cloud. But then the reason to use it is that a lot of the native softwares for the registration has some limitation in case of processing prepared point clouds. So
Mhm.
to just view them, to organize them, to put additional information,
Mhm.
this is for now a limit for most of the native software. So that's why we still need to get some more. So in case of Orbit, we are getting possibility to not only attach new information, because we can, like,
Mhm.
because this is also a feature which is a lot of the software can give us, but in Orbit we can combine views from different sources, like for example from point cloud, then from 360 photos. We can
Mhm.
open them the same time
Yeah.
and to make a review. So
Yeah.
that's the first use. But I would say what is, for example, really interesting for me is that it gives us possibility to automatical extract of some features like lines, axes, edges. And this is what a lot of companies are looking for now, because
Yeah.
in times where we are trying to also raise the salary of our employees, and
Yeah, you're
the
right.
the time
Is
of employee is precious
yeah.
now. So we are
Yeah,
looking for automatization.
yeah, I think when we talk about optimization of resources, we like this is eventually what you can gain out of it. Like if you have if the software is doing a job that at the moment you have someone that is just clicking in the computer and doing that job, and you can
Mhm.
automate that with the software. You can have that operator and that technician or that person, that engineer, focusing on a more on a task.
Advanced stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So yeah, and then you can obviously generate more revenue because you are also shortening the length of that
That's the
uh,
thing, yes.
yeah, that of that application or that workflow. So you can potentially generate more revenue. As we have a couple of use cases. The last one was with a company in Netherlands where they're saving was it about 12,000 euros a year, uh,
Hmm.
based only on the automation of the photogrammetry workflow.
Yes.
That's mind blowing. That's really like that's 12,000 euros. It sounds little, but it's like is indeed it could go to a raise in the
Yeah,
salary of that.
it is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. So
Exactly.
so yes, as we said, that's the
So
first step of automatization.
that's a point for point cloud.
Yes.
So we're in a tie.
Now
Point
that's
cloud.
the next aspect we have to
Hmm.
discuss is the size, because
Yeah.
of course we have a lot of the different possibilities to gather the point clouds,
Hmm.
starting with terrestrial laser scanning systems. So we are displacing tripod, collecting point cloud, which will be really dense. Will have huge and great control on the quality, on the accuracy. Of course, we will use the survey points, the control points. Then we have a mobile system, handheld scanners, backpack scanners, scanners on the tray. Then we have huge mobile system on the car, which has a gyroscope, for example,
Hmm.
helping to get and correct the trajectory. So still a huge amount of data possible to gather on, for example, long distance of the road.
Hmm.
Then we have lidars for the airborne system, so we are able to gather data from the terrain to get a numeric model of the terrain. So yes, we have a lot of them, but we have to consider that, take in consideration that the more data we would like to gather, those systems
Mm-hmm.
are getting really expensive at some point.
Yeah.
So this, we are not talking here about 5,000 euros. It's more like 5 million euros at some point.
Mm.
If you are talking about gathering a lot of the data. In case of photogrammetry, hmm, yes, drones can be expensive, but still, this is not the level of the laser scanner scanning system.
Especially in the last few years, like I think they've like the cost of a drone has decreased massively. Same as for the cameras and the devices that you can mount on the drones.
Yes.
So when I was working in Gateway in Trimble UAS, our equipment was sold for, I think it was 40,000 with the software included. Um, and I know customers of mine are using like DJI,
Yeah.
for less than 10,000 euro. You have a really good equipment to do photogrammetry and engineering applications. Not
Yes.
talking about mapping anymore, but engineering applications. So
Yes. That's
so
the
yeah,
thing.
the price has decreased massively in the last few years. Same for the last scans. We've seen like
Yes. Also.
Leica, releasing like this the BLK and lighter and cheaper equipment. Even
Yeah, that's true.
like the app, I was gonna say iPhone, Apple iPad, has released this new. So we see that it's also coming to the point cloud world, but not as much as with the photogrammetry, right?
Yes, it's
Mm-hmm.
still the size, because in case of BLK, which is great lightweight scanner for some smaller scanning, because
Mm-hmm.
it's meant to scan small things.
Yeah.
It will have always it will have a problem even with the bigger, even because of the battery.
Mm.
But so in case we are scanning something small, or even, let's say, especially when we are scanning small areas, but that's the
Mm.
point I will get after.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, then scanners like VLK, they are the solution here, and the price is real affordable right now.
Yeah.
In case we are working as a surveyors, we would like to work with the road, for example, to gather the information about the terrain, um, to get cut fill volume calculation. Then there is no way to compare those two systems, and photogrammetry here
Yeah. Yeah.
and the optimization of the process will always win with the point cloud.
Yeah.
So of course, it will be hard to give a point to point cloud or the photogrammetry here, because the answer is once again, it depends. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, in case we would like to gather a lot of a lot of the terrain around, or for
Mm-hmm.
example, it's really high, like we would like to gather really high texture um, information of the facade of the old church, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have two possibilities. We can take a laser scanner, which will have possibility to firstly reach the range
Mm-hmm.
to the top of the tower, but still the resolution there will always get worse because of the distance.
Yeah.
Or we can use a drone and just fly it really closely,
Yeah.
like we had this really nice webinar with
Yeah. With
Remco,
Renko. Yeah. 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 You're
and
right. Yeah.
then there will be no way to compare
Yeah. Yeah.
those
Yeah.
the quality.
The quality you can achieve, yeah. And sorry, I wanted to mention something. You again mentioned something like, it depends. And every time I hear this, it depends. Like I just find the data acquisition is always like such a painful process when it comes to in our reality data world. And I think this is one of the keys of virtuosity. And I want to take a second to mention this because is just, I think, the value of virtuosity, bringing the Bentley licenses together with expert services. In this case, will actually be your services,
Yes, that's right.
which is even better. So every license is bundled. With expert services, with something they call keys. So I think this is crucial, because like technology is changing so fast. The When it comes to data acquisition, for geospatial, like there is so many things that need to be taken into consideration, like weather conditions and the texture, the of the physical asset, like so many things. So I find that having that support of someone guiding you through the process of it, I think is just an incredible thing to take advantage of.
That's true. That's true.
Mm.
It's a good moment to just mention that yes, together with the software, we are also getting know-how.
Yeah.
And in my case, I have experience as a laser scanning specialist in the past. So, and I would be really glad if I could help our customers to just with the acquisition, with the the way to gather
Hmm.
the data.
Yeah.
So of course, that is a great thing. If I were you, if I were a customer right now, I would definitely will be interested in the fact that I can buy a software and I don't have to look for the training of companies. I can just contact, and in fact, I don't have to contact because we are contacting first the company where I bought the system, and I just have training together with the software.
Yeah, it's a much more smoother and like easier path to leverage and make the most of your investment. I think that's the key of thing. It's just you're making an investment, and we wanted to make sure that you are getting the most out of that
True.
money that you are spending on the license.
That's true.
So yeah, we will talk about these more tomorrow in the webinar.
That's true.
So we will talk about the orbit and the context capture, and the keys, and the new advanced worksuits. So I invite everyone to join, because that's going to be also you and me, and it will be like a 40 minutes talking about this new bundle advanced worksuits. So I think it's going to be very interesting for everyone.
Okay, then now the question. I wonder if you would like to see some examples of the
Yeah.
place where the point cloud would be better to use,
I,
because
I think that would be really interesting. Yeah, let's do that.
as we spoke about the it depends on the site. Sometimes it will be hard for the point clouds, especially at those smaller systems like the handheld scanners, backpacks, or the terrestrial scanning. It's meant to also gather a lot of information and
Mhm.
inside the buildings, for example, where
Mhm.
the photogrammetry will always have kind of limitation. You have to take a step back if you need to gather some information about the object, to gather the photos. In case of laser scanning, you can depend that on the laser, which will penetrate through the, for example,
Mhm.
darkness. Let's say that you have to take some dark tunnels in the mine.
Mhm.
No way for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
photogrammetry then.
Or the canopy in forests, for instance.
For example,
So such
yes.
applications. Yeah.
Let's stop share here, and I will share my other application.
I have my dog here
Um,
with me. I
okay.
think he's asking me for a walk. Cross
Yeah,
my skull.
it's a great moment.
This is working from home at its best. At its best.
Yes, that's true. Okay, let me tell me if you will see it.
I see it
Um,
now. Let me see if I have at the stream. Yeah, there you go.
okay, so just a few examples of possibilities. That's in case we are scanning old medieval buildings
Mhm.
placed, and we have limited time. Then we need to consider using a point cloud, of course, because then, first of all, we are able to just climb on the really old attic, where, and of course, fight with the pigeons and what they are living left after them. But
I
that's
can picture you fighting with the pigeons and
yeah,
getting
that
your
was
way through.
it was looking like this. And the times how many times I got heart attack because they start to fly over my head. It was
Oh my god.
It is happening, and you got to the place which is really, really
Hmm.
tight.
Yeah.
It will be and tight, and you will have limited light. Then of course, then point cloud only.
Hmm.
If you need to gather this quickly and you would like to get out of this place as soon as possible, then the laser scanner, of course.
Hmm.
In case you are getting pipes like here in the underground
Hmm.
of the, in this case that was a swimming pool. You also have a lot of pipes together. The
Hmm.
time to take the
To
pictures
gather,
of those.
yeah, that will be not very efficient. Yeah,
Yes,
I see what that this is a very clear example of where photogrammetry will have its limitations.
yes,
I think you could still benefit. So I think is the combination of both, because like if you are doing this like you could, if you are generating the 3D mesh as well, you could use that for like I was going to say inspection, but more like a training. And so like walking that digital context, I think is again of value. So if you can obviously do the point cloud, and then you have enough imagery to generate that 3D mesh. So I think it's the combination of both that generates more and more layers of
of the data. Yeah,
yeah, of data that you can then deliver to your customer as added value.
that's true. Of course, in case you have time and the requests also for
Mm-hmm.
that, it's always important that you will have a possibility for that, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's only up to you and your client if whether you decide if you want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
or just it's always about the balance between time and quality. It's always about.
Yeah, and I think it's also I think I learned this in since the very beginning as in my first job as an engineer. What is your final application? Like is like what is that you need to, because that will determine the accuracy that you need, the different layers that you can produce, and different
Yes,
equipment that you need to use for the data acquisition. So I think loads of the times it's like stepping back and thinking, what is it you're trying to achieve? What is the final application of it?
yes,
Is it going to be inspection? Is it going to be I don't know, training? Is it going to be maybe you can do both at the same time? Maybe like, so it's just thinking of what is the final one, the real final application, what you need to sell to your customer, to your
of
end customer,
course.
and then doing like that reverse process up to the data acquisition.
That's the beginning
Mm.
and the starting point to know where is the end. So yeah,
Mm,
that's
mhm,
true. So yeah, as I mentioned, if we are looking for gathering a lot of the data inside, and of course the time limitation is existing,
mhm,
then of course the point clouds here will take advantage, and they will always win at
mhm.
this point here.
Yeah.
In case we are talking about the outside outdoor volume calculation or terrain modeling, or we would like to prepare um, a topographic map out of the terrain, which is now more often and often using photogrammetry as a source,
Mhm,
and the photogrammetry, of course, because as we know, we are already using laser scanning to gather the information and prepare the map,
mhm,
and vectorization, and the results are really satisfying. But then it is possible to do it the same with the more much cheaper method, which accuracy will be also um, really satisfying and fitting the same borders as with the point clouds.
mm,
Of course, there is also great advantage on the vectorization, because vectorization on the 3D mesh is really easy at some point.
yeah.
We don't have to focus that much on clipping the point cloud. Uh,
We saw that on the webinar for the editor, I think.
yes,
Yeah.
indeed, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
also presented. What are the differences
Mm,
here? So yes, it will be much easier for us to create a vectorization directly from the 3D mesh than from the point cloud. But of course, in case we need more details of the geometry and it's really small,
Hmm.
you will have to always take the balance and consider it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's a
Right
very
then,
good point.
I will go back maybe now to the
Okay.
presentation.
Yeah.
hmm so it's application. Yes. Okay, because now,
This is the last. This is the last announcement.
yes, about
Okay. Yeah.
tomorrow.
So we did mention it before, but we have, so tomorrow we have a webinar. We're very excited about this because we finally have the reality modeling worksuite advanced ready and available on our website, and we're just going to present the bundle, different solutions. So that contains Orbit 3DM feature extraction that we mentioned during the live chat, allows you to combine all the data, imagery, point clouds, mobile mapping, GIS, anything, and apply some advanced measurements and analysis tools. So that's going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. And then we also have, with that worksuite, we also deliver the context capture and the context capture editor. So we will cover that again for those who are not familiar with the software, and we will talk about the keys. So the Suovic services for our existing customers, which I think, as we said, is of very interesting to support you and to help you being successful with our solutions.
Yeah.
So that's tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. My time. So that's Dublin time. Is 4:30 your time, Poland time,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, indeed. So
Okay.
just to summarize,
Yeah.
um,
Please.
talking about
How did we end up in the battle? 3D
so
3D mesh between point clouds. I think
I would
they're
say
there. I think is more of it, the power of the combination of both. That's what I would say.
yes, I would say that's with this bundle, because when you can buy a whole bundle in the price of even single software,
Hmm.
then you always can say, I have reality modeling workshop advanced, so why not both?
Yeah.
That would be the final conclusion, that you
Hmm.
you don't have to choose because you have limited resources on the software. You are taking a whole bundle and you are able now to process all of the reality modeling data. So not only photogrammetry, because
Hmm.
you have whole solution for that,
Hmm.
plus point clouds. So,
Hmm.
and they are not weak engines. You have like powerful engine for each
Yeah.
of those,
Yeah.
and you just pay for one bundle.
Yeah.
So yes, why not both?
Yeah, exactly. I like to close with that. Why not
Yeah,
both? Yeah,
why not both?
perfect. Wow, great. That was very interesting. Thanks so much, Sovik,
Right.
for your
Thank you
time.
too.
Yeah. Talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. Yes. Gonna hear you soon. Yes.
Okay, bye.
Bye
Bye. Bye
bye.
everyone. Bye bye.